Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated boxing legend, has long been a polarizing figure, celebrated for his in-ring brilliance and criticized for his ostentatious lifestyle. Recently, his daughter, Yaya Mayweather, has publicly shared revelations about her father that paint a complex and troubling portrait of a man whose need for control and invincibility may be unraveling both his personal relationships and his carefully curated public image. These disclosures, coupled with mounting scrutiny from peers like Amir Khan and Oscar de la Hoya, as well as legal and financial questions, suggest that Mayweather's empire, built on a narrative of wealth, dominance, and untouchability, may be more fragile than it appears. Yaya's decision to speak out comes in the wake of her father's bold claim that he owns multiple buildings in Manhattan, a statement that ignited controversy not only on social media but also among legal authorities now reportedly examining his real estate portfolio. The claim centered on a reported $42 million deal involving 62 rental apartment buildings in Washington Heights, Manhattan, which Mayweather promoted as evidence of his business acumen. However, public property records tell a different story, indicating that Mayweather may hold only a minority stake in the investment, not the full ownership he proclaimed. For Yaya, this discrepancy is not an isolated incident but part of a broader pattern of her father's need to project an image of unassailable success, even at the cost of truth or family ties. According to Yaya, the Floyd Mayweather revered by fans for his flash and undefeated record is a stark contrast to the man she knows privately. She describes a father whose obsession with dominance extends far beyond the boxing ring, manifesting in a compulsive need to flaunt financial power in every setting, regardless of the consequences. This behavior, she suggests, is not merely about showmanship but about crafting a persona that appears immune to struggle or vulnerability. Yaya's words carry a weight of personal pain, as she reveals that her father's pursuit of this image has often strained their relationship, prioritizing his public persona over familial bonds. She claims that Floyd would rather risk losing his family than allow the world to perceive him as anything less than invincible. The Mayweather family has deep roots in boxing, with Floyd's father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., and his uncle, Roger Mayweather, both having been professional boxers. The sport is a legacy, one that Floyd has continued to nurture, even training his 4-year-old grandson, KJ, in the ring. Yet, Yaya notes that her own siblings have largely steered clear of boxing, perhaps distancing themselves from the intense pressure and public scrutiny that come with the Mayweather name. For Yaya, the family's connection to the sport underscores the personal stakes of her father's actions, as his public persona overshadows the private realities she navigates. Yaya's allegations about her father's need to posture as greater, richer, and more untouchable than he is are not without precedent. She points to a history of behavior that supports her claims, including Floyd's response, or lack thereof, during her highly publicized legal troubles. In 2020, Yaya was arrested in connection to a violent altercation involving her then-boyfriend, rapper NBA YoungBoy. The incident drew significant media attention, and while Floyd had never approved of Yaya's relationship with the rapper, his public response was notably restrained. In an interview, he offered vague support, stating he wanted the best for his daughter and her partner, but his actions suggested otherwise. Floyd did not post about Yaya on social media during this period, a silence that stood in stark contrast to his frequent posts about his other children, particularly his son Karan, whom he proudly showcased in boxing training sessions. Fans noticed this digital absence, interpreting it as Floyd deliberately distancing himself from his daughter's legal chaos to protect his polished image. This pattern of selective engagement is a recurring theme in Yaya's account. She recalls lavish gestures from her father during happier times, such as the $1 million Sweet 16 party he threw for her, complete with performances by Drake and Future, or the $50,000 he spent to have Nicki Minaj attend her 14th birthday. He gifted her a Mercedes G-Wagon and posed for selfies with celebrities, projecting the image of a doting father. Yet, when Yaya's life took a public and painful turn, Floyd's presence vanished. His social media continued to feature posts about his other children and captions claiming he strives to be the best father possible, but for Yaya, these words rang hollow. The contrast between his public displays of fatherhood and his private absence during her struggles left her feeling sidelined, a casualty of his need to maintain an untarnished image. The scrutiny surrounding Mayweather extends beyond his family dynamics. Boxing analyst Chris Algieri recently weighed in, highlighting a troubling financial picture that undermines Floyd's narrative of limitless wealth. Algieri noted that despite earning $300 million in a single night against Manny Pacquiao in 2015, an event that grossed over $500 million globally, Mayweather's financial habits mirror those of athletes who have gone broke despite massive earnings. Reports of IRS debts, unpaid staff, and allegations of real estate fraud paint a picture of an empire under strain. Algieri's observations are echoed by others in the boxing world, who warn that Mayweather's lavish spending on luxury cars, private jets, mansions, and watches may be catching up with him. His financial troubles are not mere speculation. They are substantiated by documented issues, such as a $22.2 million IRS debt that forced him out of retirement in 2017 to fight Conor McGregor. Adding fuel to the fire, Mayweather's recent social media activity has raised eyebrows. A post on X showed him holding a WBC championship belt, promoting the sale of signed memorabilia tied to a cryptocurrency initiative. To many fans, this appeared less like a celebration of his legacy and more like a desperate attempt to monetize his name. Comments under the post were filled with skepticism, with some labeling it a cash grab, and others noting that Mayweather, who hasn't fought professionally in years, seems stuck in a 2015 version of his Money Mayweather persona. The perception is that these moves reflect a man struggling to maintain the illusion of wealth rather than someone securely in control of his finances. Even Mayweather's father, Floyd Sr., has voiced concerns about his son's trajectory. In an interview with the Daily Mail, he warned that millionaires go broke when they cannot control their wealth, pointing to Floyd's legendary spending sprees as a potential path to ruin. He acknowledged his son's potential to secure his financial future, but cautioned that reckless spending on possessions, trips, and women could deplete even Floyd's fortune. The elder Mayweather's words carry the weight of experience, as he has witnessed the rise and fall of many fighters who succumbed to similar temptations. Yaya's testimony, however, strikes at the heart of the issue, not just Floyd's finances, but the personal cost of his relentless pursuit of dominance. She describes a father who prioritizes his image over his family's trust, a man who would rather let his daughter face public scrutiny alone than show vulnerability. This dynamic is poignantly illustrated in Yaya's relationship with her son, Kentrell Jr., whom Floyd has showered with extravagant gifts, including a diamond Rolex. In an Instagram post, Yaya shared a photo of her son wearing the watch, captioning it, "KJ's papa got him his first Rolex," and tagging her father. The gesture was bittersweet, a reminder of Floyd's ability to show up with gifts but his absence when emotional support is needed. For Yaya, no amount of luxury can mask the pain of her father's selective presence or the sense that he is spiraling while pretending to soar. The criticism of Mayweather has also taken a political turn, with former rival Amir Khan using Floyd's alleged financial troubles as a springboard to attack his moral character. Khan suggests that Mayweather's lavish lifestyle has left him in debt, possibly forcing him to return to the ring to survive. However, Khan's real grievance lies with Mayweather's public support for Israel during the ongoing conflict in Gaza, a stance Khan views as transactional and morally bankrupt. He claims that Mayweather accepted financial incentives to back Israel, contrasting this with his own refusal to do the same. Khan's rhetoric is charged with personal animosity, as he accuses Mayweather of betraying principles for profit. He further fuels speculation by repeating unverified rumors about Mayweather's legal troubles in Dubai, alleging bounce checks and house arrest, claims that lack concrete evidence but add to the narrative of a man in decline. Khan's comments shift the focus from Mayweather's finances to his character, framing his political choices as evidence of a deeper moral failing. This critique is not isolated. It resonates with a broader sentiment among Mayweather's peers that his actions, whether financial, familial, or political, are eroding his legacy. Oscar de la Hoya, another longtime rival, has also chimed in, criticizing Mayweather's recent string of exhibition fights as a dilution of his once untouchable reputation. De la Hoya argues that these carnival bouts, driven by financial necessity rather than competitive merit, tarnish the legacy of a fighter who once prided himself on retiring undefeated. The underlying message is clear: Mayweather is chasing relevance and cash at the expense of his storied career. The convergence of these voices, Yaya's personal revelations, Khan's ideological attacks, De La Hoya's professional critique, and Algieri's financial warnings, paints a damning picture of a man struggling to hold together an empire that is fraying at the edges. The rumors of gambling debts, lawsuits, and unpaid obligations add credibility to the narrative that Mayweather's wealth is not as secure as he projects. His social media posts, once a showcase of opulence, now feel like a desperate bid to maintain the Money Mayweather mythos. Yet, it is Yaya's voice that cuts deepest, revealing the human cost of her father's obsession with invincibility. Her story is not just about a boxer's financial missteps or political controversies. It is about a daughter grappling with the absence of a father who chooses image over connection. As the scrutiny intensifies, Mayweather continues to project an image of control, posting about luxury cars, training sessions with his sons, and cryptocurrency ventures. His messaging remains consistent. Money is never the problem, family is always good, and everything is under control. But the cracks are visible, and the voices of those closest to him, his daughter, his father, his peers, are growing louder. They suggest that Floyd Mayweather, the man who built a legend on being untouchable, may be facing a reckoning, one that no amount of wealth or bravado can forestall. For Yaya, the tragedy is not just her father's potential fall, but the realization that his pursuit of an unbreakable image may have already broken the bonds that matter most.